Trauma is unpredictable, by its very nature.
Trauma is one of the main reasons that people die in the United States.
We don't know if it's going to be our neighbors, our family members.
Trauma is really important to all of us.
I got a cell phone call that there'd been a little accident and that my husband was involved. And I just dropped everything. Steve had been walking southbound. The vehicle that had struck him was facing northbound. And they let me walk up to the stretcher, and he said, "I'm not going to make it." And I said, "You have to at least try."
The day that Steve came into the hospital, it was nearing the end of my shift, and we heard the page go out for a pedestrian who was struck by a vehicle. EMS informed us that he was complaining of right leg, right arm pain, and having significant shortness of breath. They were just trying to get him loaded up and get him here as soon as possible. They knew that things were not going to be good, so they called for helicopter right away. And this patient would best be served getting to a level 1 trauma center as soon as possible.
I'm watching all this, it's very surreal, and I wasn't sure if that was going to be like the end. Like the helicopter's off and the next phone call is something else entirely. He was probably airlifted about 5 o'clock. And they said, "We think you should come down. You need to be on your way." And I said, "Okay." My first impression was that his ICU room was incredibly small. And I realized it was incredibly small because it was so full of support equipment.
I met him the morning after he had come in, and he had been very sick and unstable overnight. We didn't know if he was going to survive.
I never got the impression that they felt like he was going to die. It was very clear he could die and he was on the brink of death, but no one ever said anything like that, especially to me.
The most harrowing part was probably the first couple of days. He had a lot of different injuries, and none of them were simple.
Every day they would have a team meeting, and that group just kind of got bigger and bigger.
As the trauma surgeons, we're responsible for the overall care of the patient, but there's no way that we could do it ourselves.
At no point was I not included.
Well, family communication is key, especially in patients who have complex care, who have multiple injuries.
My first memory was my 3rd week there, and I had a room with a picture window. If I could see a parking ramp, and on top of the parking ramp was a windsock that had the helicopter. I was immobile, completely immobile.
He had setbacks and complications, which is part of recovering from a bad trauma.
Every doctor that had something to do with putting me back together made sure that I knew that I was supposed to be good to myself.
By the time he had left our care, he had seen every single one of my partners, as well as many of our nurse practitioners and physician assistants who work on our team.
It was 100 people involved in Steve's care. That's a lot of people that have to coordinate with each other as well.
Lung doctors, kidney doctors.
Orthopedic, you've got psychology, you've got neurology.
Cardiology, veinology, boneology. I noticed that the crowd of people were diminishing a little by little. Then I knew I was going to make it.
February 8th he went in, March 31st he came home.
When he was released from North Memorial to go home, he did come in to see us here in the ED to visit, to give his thanks, to just let us know how he was doing. It was unbelievable to see him standing there. He had a cane and he held it up in the air and did a dance. Look at me, I don't even need this. To see him coming in, dancing, laughing, singing, talking, is just so heartwarming.
Remember those dances back in the 50s? These are my rotten legs. If my legs get tired, I'll pick up a cane and do it, but I really don't like to.
When we get a patient who recovers, especially one who was doing very poorly when they made it to the hospital, and then has to go through complex care and then has setbacks, when they're able to get out of the hospital and recover, it's a victory for us. That's what keeps us going.
One of our primary commitments is doing care differently, doing what is right for the person.
Every injury really, for us, is a way to look at how we take care of the population going forward.
It's in the DNA of the hospital. Everything that we do at North Memorial in some way touches trauma.
I'm very proud of our team. I think we do excellent patient care over the last several years. I think it's not lost on anybody that it's been challenging.
This place is family. If I want somebody taking care of my family member, I want them to feel like they're family, right? So that's how we all take care of our patients, and we all have to work as a team to be successful. Nobody can take care of a trauma patient by themselves.
I think this is one of the only places I've ever seen in my life that never gives up.
I think with what healthcare and what our healthcare professionals have been through, especially the last few years, every bit of support they can get.
These guys knew that I was going to make it before I did. Maybe, I guess I was their champion patient and they were my champion facility. And I'm fortunate, I'm blessed that I got what I needed when I needed it.
I turned 65 while Steve was in the hospital. In fact, I think he gave me the best gift I ever got in my life. He had the nurses run around and get him tape and get him paper and get him markers. And he made this envelope. And this is a guy who couldn't move his right arm. And then he made me a birthday card. And it's probably the best card I ever got. Love you then, love you now, always will. Steve, happy birthday, sweetheart.